So obviously you saw the title of this video, so let's talk about it. Especially the part where I'm not gonna lie, I definitely use that thumbnail and title as a joke. But since you're already here, you should still stick around and listen to what I have to say. The modern church is failing men, and specifically young adults, your young adult men. Now I know that's a strong claim from somebody who just turned 21, like literally 3 weeks ago, but here's what I mean by that. How many of you could actually tell me about the story in the life of King David? More than just him defeating Goliath or even him being a ruler of one of the greatest nations. Okay. How about this? How many of you even know that there's a dude named Boaz? He's in the Bible, specifically the Old Testament. And on top of that, he's actually in the line of descendants that includes David and ultimately Jesus. Now, why do I say these things or bring these things up? Because here's my point. It seems like a lot of churches, with the exception of a few great ones, like one, my personal home church, and two, all the great work that Philip Anthony Mitchell is doing at 2819. There seems to be a gap of true, not even just biblical teaching, but conviction, teaching about godly ambition, teaching about purity, actually fighting the flesh, diving deep into what it means to be a soldier for Christ, not just performative works, but actually pursuing him, like Paul tells Timothy. Things like actually how to deal with godly ambition and managing the desire of wanting to have dominion and control and really ownership of your life. How to lead in such a way where you're being humble and not just domineering. You're being led selflessly by the Holy Spirit and for his will. It seems too often that when it comes to teaching our boys, men, young adults, people my age, and even people that are way ahead in their life, the gospel and what it means to get saved and be a Christ follower gets reduced down to, oh, do some good works, be a good man, and just live out your life. And then you wonder why all these teenagers are switching to orthodoxy, which at least are staying in the church, or they're looking to the world and they're finding Islam, they're finding Hinduism, and not even because they don't believe in God, but because they're searching for something that teaches them how to manage their rage, their emotions. What does godly ambition or just ambition in general look like in such a way where, yeah, you're taking control, but you're doing it out of a servant mindset, and more than that, a servant soldier mindset. They're feeling isolated in church because they go on a Sunday and the whole thing is catered. And I'm not even just talking about Mother's Day. I'm just saying in general, it's catered towards one, not just prosperity gospel, two, but oh, here's how to be a soft man, or here's how to like no, bruh. And on the other hand, the flip side of that is, hey, we're not teaching, hey, before you go, oh, this is a big one. Before you go say, hey, I want to go date somebody, I want to ask somebody's hand in marriage. Before you ask somebody to submit to you, what are you doing to sacrifice and be a kingdom builder? Or even one big thing, I was talking to one of my friends today, and I know this verse and even this context gets misquoted all the time. Oh, you have to be the man in the house and the woman is supposed to be subservient. Like, no, brother, we're supposed to have complementary, different, but complementary roles that ultimately encourage and build each one another in faith. Yes, we serve different roles, but it doesn't mean that I just get to assert my dominance over my wife. Like, brother, what are you talking about? I know I've kind of rambled a little bit, but the point is this: the failure for men, or the failure of the modern church to men, is that we're not teaching. One, sometimes we're genuinely watering down the gospel, but two, we're not teaching these boys, these men, and these young adults, hey, here's how you manage that desire to actually lead, but you're doing it in a way by you're led by the Holy Spirit. Here's how to, one, we're not gonna reduce intercourse to just this thing that, oh, it's this gift that you only have your wife. Like, no, let me actually teach you how to combat lust, because it's a great thing that you have that desire to go pursue and court a woman, but yeah, it's a gift that you have for marriage. Hey, I know you have that desire to, make this amount of money, have a great job. And sometimes that desire is really because you want to provide for your family. Other times it's because, hey, bro, you just want the Hellcat. But what if we actually taught these men, hey, it is great that you have ambition. I mean, face it, it's a warrior spirit. There's a certain amount of carnality there, but hey, what if we teach you how to actually manage this and tap into the fact that, yeah, as a man, you want to get after it, you want to chase after it, you want to be, the dominant force, but What if we teach you how to actually do that in a way where you're honoring God and not just either A, honoring the flesh, or B, honoring the world? The reason all these young boys, I'm not even, I say young boys, the reason all these young boys, these teenager, or even young adults like myself are going and following the Andrew Tates of this world is not even because all the time they say things that are logical. Half the time, Andrew Tate says something that's crazy, but it's because it's like, oh, okay, there's a tangible evidence of his lifestyle. But B, it's like, there is, oh, hey, this person is domineering, he's getting after it, he's telling me, oh, go to the gym, make this amount of money, right? And to a certain extent, he's giving the right advice in the sense that, hey, you should better yourself, you should want more, you should just be sitting on the couch all day, you shouldn't be doing nothing. But it's rooted in a pursuit of self. But then when these people go to church, they hear everything about how they need to suppress themselves or be softer. Like, no, God didn't design you for that. God called you to be a leader, he called you to be a soldier, but in such a way that honors him and not that honors the world. I know I've kind of rambled a bit, and if this video does well, maybe I'll actually go in deep into it, but I don't know. I was thinking about my walk, the people that have poured into my life, my pastors at Keystone, pastors that I've got to listen to, like Philip Anthony Mitchell when he came to Texas, or even just voices, positive Christian voices in the culture. I see this gap, and then when I ask my friends who maybe don't go to my church, and they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, I don't really follow God because not because they had to sneeze, but because it's." I'm kidding. Not because they had to sneeze, but it's because yeah, the whole Christian thing, I don't know. There's a bunch of rules, and honestly, I want to live my life, and you know, um, it's I feel like that's just kind of soft, and I don't know. And there's so many things, but the reason is because we're not actually teaching young men, young boys, males. We'll just say males because video really applies to everybody. We're not teaching them what it actually means to be an ambitious, humble servant leader and soldier for the kingdom. You wonder why all these dudes are becoming orthodox all of a sudden? It's not because the word was preached any differently, or not that. It's not because that it's a different Bible. It's because these set of traditions, these regulations tap into the fact that ultimately, as a man, you're going to seek that order, you're going to seek that discipline. Even if you don't have it, you want it because you see what it looks like, whether it's in a military or just somebody, like I said, where it's an Andrew Tate, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna wake up at 5 and do this. You see that and you want better for yourself. But then, like I said, when they get to church and either A, they're being coddled, or B, they're being minimized, that's a big one. That's a big one. And, you know, my pastor actually talked about this, and you can look up the studies if you don't believe me. The shift kind of happened when it used to, church actually used to push the nuclear family. More than that, they used to push building up young men. But what happened is that you had all these men go into the draft or even enlist free willingly. Free willingly? Am I dumb? They they by their own free will they enlisted, they signed up, went to war. While they were gone, there were no men in the church, or at least there weren't that many. And if there were, they probably weren't the strongest bunch of the bunch, right? Or best of the bunch. So what happened is you had the demasculization of the church, not because there was necessarily an attack on men, but because they weren't there. So you had to shift the message to catering to the woman who's now lost her husband and potentially her son and or both. You have to not only cater in such a way where you're catering towards a loss, you have to teach this person sometimes how to fill roles that they were never meant to be in. And overall, what happens is instead of making this about the nuclear family and how the man is the house leader of the household, you come back, or these soldiers, military people, insert everything here. These people come back from World War II and they realize, oh, this doesn't resonate with me anymore, because what used to be about building up the nuclear family, rising up leaders in both boys and girls, men, women, daughters and sons. Now it's reduced to, oh, the songs are different. Oh, we're a little bit softer, and oh, this and whatever. And then the reason that they don't want to go to church is not even because they don't believe in God, but it's because it's like, hey, bro, this is kind of weak, watered down. This doesn't speak to me anymore. What about telling me to go be the leader or this and whatever? Like it's not talked about. It's not talked about. Like I said, depending on how this video goes, I might like actually go more in depth in this because this is something that's kind of passionate to me. I just recorded this on a whim. But what I would say is if you are a young man watching this video and figuring it out, here's what I would say. First, pray and ask God to reveal himself to you. Like I said, I know I made something super clickbaity about how I'm joining Islam. bro, Muhammad had like 12 wives and dated a 12-year-old. You don't want to follow that dude, bro. It's not who you want to follow. But seriously, pray to God, ask him to reveal himself to you. Ask him to teach you how to manage those desires of having true godly ambition, denying your flesh, not giving into lust. And lust doesn't just, can I say sexual? I don't know. Lust doesn't have to just be sexual. Lust can be a desire for money. That's all it is. It's a strong desire to have something to the point where either you elevate it to the point of where it's an idol, or it gets so close to the fact that it's actually disrupting your day. Anyway, so whether it's godly ambition, managing lust, even like I said, for me, working out, bro, sometimes like I go into the gym with the mindset of like, hey, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna make this thing be an act of worship. But sometimes I can get so performative in the fact that I'm chasing to be better, that my pursuit of God sometimes becomes about, oh, I'm gonna be the best man, when in reality, no, I'm sharpening my skills so that I can be used for the kingdom. It's not about me. I just went on a tangent. Let me start over. Pray to God, ask him to reveal himself to you. Ask him to teach you how to manage those healthy desires that you do have, but in such a way where you're actually honoring God and not just your flesh. And read for yourself, bro. Because what's gonna happen is, if you're going to this church that's not giving you enough, you're gonna be like, oh, well, either A, God's doing something wrong, or B, this whole thing about Christianity isn't for me. No, bro. Go read Ruth, go study Boaz, actually read who David was, because David, not only was he more than just some dude who killed a giant, he was a very imperfect person that is regarded as not just one of the best kings of Israel, he's regarded as legendary. Even people who don't follow Christianity know about David and Goliath, right? But no, he was an imperfect man. Dude had like multiple wives, sent one of his soldiers friends into battle so that he could go get with his girl. Like, it's kind of crazy, bro. Anyways, you should read into it. Then his son Solomon, who wrote Proverbs, magnified his sins almost tenfold. But point I'm making is, read these stories, study the highs, the depths, the ebbs, the flows, everything. See what it means to be a godly man. Go read Paul's letters to Timothy and Titus and see what it means to have actual discipleship and mentorship, and what it means to have somebody that's speaking into your life, that, hey, you go to them for that advice, hey, you go to them for that, but ultimately they're pointing you back to Christ, not pointing you back to them, right? Paul's whole letters about Timothy, and also Timothy was somebody that was in ministry. But anyways, Paul's whole letters is, hey, this is what I've lived, but I'm living this by the Holy Spirit. So as you mimic me, you mimicking Christ. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, but I guess the third step would be find a mentor. But yeah, I don't know. Ask God. Well, I do, but I don't. I don't know everything. I'm not. I don't know everything under the sun. Like I said, I just turned 21 like 3 weeks ago. Honestly, I didn't even know if I was gonna post this video. But point I'm making is, ask God to reveal Himself to you. Ask Him to help you those traits, and then search and read the scriptures for yourselves. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, unless you're just at an exceptional church like mine, shout out Keystone, or I know 2819. I know there's other churches, but I'm just saying those two. The reality is, you're probably not getting the fullness of what it actually means to be a servant and warrior leader for His kingdom. One of my pastors today, his name is Todd Lane. You can look him up. One of the things he said was, you got to have that warrior mindset. If you don't have that warrior mindset, you'll never fully be able to walk into what God has called you to be. Here's what I mean by that. In the military, there's this thing called an MOS. It's a military occupational specialty code. And I know specifically for the Army, the way it works is, whether you're a cook, the main infantry dude, IT, like, intelligence, or even HR, you still go to basic training. And then after that, you go to your job training, and that's what you do, right? Here's the point I'm making with this. Whether you are called to be a pastor, whether you are called to be some content creator, everybody is an evangelist at their core. Everybody is called with the great commission to follow me and then spread my followers and spread my kingdom, right? What I mean by that is, if you don't enter this world with the mindset of, hey, you know what? Certain people are going to have different gifts, but ultimately I am a warrior, whether that means I'm on the front lines of kids ministry, student ministry, or you're just sitting there talking to dudes about Jesus in a Waffle House. You got to go into this world with a more warrior mindset. But you will never go into this world with a warrior mindset if the whole time you're sitting there and not even being knowing where to guide it to or to be guided to. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling a little bit. This video was super unstructured. Don't have a script for this. Didn't really do a lot of planning. I did do some praying though. But yeah, I don't know. Ask God to reveal himself to you. Search the scriptures. Truly seek after him. And depending on how this video goes, if I don't know, maybe I'll do a video about how I fought against lust. How as after I turned 21, even though I have had literally no desire to drink, because I mean, alcohol is nasty. I don't know how y'all go and drink beer on the weekends. It's pretty gross. After turning 21, I got tempted all the time. All the time. All the freaking time. It's crazy. Um, Godly ambition, like I said, wanting better for yourself and wanting to chase after it, but not either A, being performative, or B, just like chasing after the world. I don't know. Like I said, I'm relatively young, but I've lived through some of that stuff. So maybe depending how this video goes, maybe seeing what people say in the comments, I talk about that. Who knows? But I know this video is different from what we usually post. Ty doesn't even know I'm posting this video, so see how that works out. And yeah, I guess I'll see y'all when I see y'all. But if this video helped you, and if you gained some insight from this, let me know. I'm rambling a little bit, so now I'm gonna end it. But stick around. See you later. Maybe we'll do more late night talks like this. Peace.